here we are, bottom of the Smash Mountain, and I am so thankful to be joined by all of you, especially those of you from the patreon.com/BSM pod. To all my patrons who are subbed over there, thank you so much for your continual support, especially big shout outs to the senior producers. We got Ventus Official, we have my mom and dad, shout outs, love you all. And of course, the biggest shout outs of all time to our guests for this evening. We have Dhir, your favorite head TO up in the British Columbian area. Dare I say Canada, dare I say the world, Battle of BC, the person who built this whole thing up with Gallant Gaming. And I'm so excited to have you on again, Dhir, because last time we did this, I was in my car with my phone. You were very gracious to join me, all that fun stuff. But now this is a little bit nicer, I would say. I could see you.
I'm so proud of how far you've come, man. I just watched that intro and everything. I've been seeing the stream. Yeah, not in your car. You have video, and it's crisp, and the audio is crisp. So, yeah, it's crazy how much has happened between February of last year and now we're in July of 2022.
Yes.
Yeah.
And you have thrown one of Melee's favorite events of this year of 2022. Battle BC4 was so cool, was so fun. So I, of course, very, very sad I wasn't able to make it up. I'm in the phase of my life where I go, I would love to go to every single Melee event, but I can't. I'm actually only going to just two majors this year. I went to Pound earlier this year, and then I'm going to drive up to Detroit for the big house. I'm not even going to fly. I'm going to drive because I think that's still possibly cheaper. I don't know. I'll have to do the math later, but I feel so bad.
Even when you're going to a lot of events, that doesn't really change. There's still, you always want to go to more events. There's always events you want to go to, but you just can't.
And you're in the post-tourney blues yourself. You were not only, of course, the head TO of Battle BC4, you were all up in that, but you were also up at GOML at Get On My Level 2022. So lots to talk about. Thank you so much for joining me, Dhir. So you just dive into whatever you like. How you doing?
Yeah, for sure. Great to see you. Definitely on that post-tourney blues. I was in Toronto. I actually spent about 10 days in Toronto. I got there pretty early. I have some really good friends out there, so I was just crashing at my friends and working remotely from there and hanging out and seeing my friends in the local scene. Got to spend a lot of time with Joe leading up to the tournament as well. GOML itself was a blast. Honestly, that tournament was a dream. It's 4 non-stop days pretty much of stimulation for me, being surrounded by homies in a city where we're all having a good time. And then the tournament itself, like I actually was involved in helping out with the tournament. I was a part of the staff team there. The Gallant team ran the ladder at the event, so we actually had a ladder at GOML on Friday and Saturday.
Oh, that's so cool.
And yeah, it's always really fun to support and be at another event where you're not the main stressed guy, coming from my own event at Battle of BC or an event I'm hosting, and then being at Joe's event where I just have to focus on this one little piece of the puzzle, which is the ladder and making sure that works. And then also just being a person who can help float and help in any emergency. Like I end up pool captaining a pool and just helping Joe where needed. But I had a great time at GOML. Getting to see so many of my old friends and friends from around the world, but also getting to meet brand new faces and new friends is always exciting. This was actually my first open major outside of my own Battle of BC that I've been to in a couple of years. Like outside of summits are a unique environment where there's only like 30 to 50 people or whatever to meet, but here I was at this is an 1,800 person event in the end, and so I got to meet so many people who I've interacted with online, and it's always fun to meet people who you've been interacting with online in person, put a name to a face. And the thing about Smash is as soon as you meet that person, like they're instant homies, right?
Yeah.
So Smash has given me instant homies around the world, and that's always, I don't know, it's just so cool that we can have something like that. I think through running the Gallant Melee Opens, I got to know a lot of names in the community from running these online events with people around the world. There were so many tags that I've gotten to know and I'm familiar with, or I've talked to them in their StartGG chat or on Discord or on Twitter. And then, yeah, there they were at the event, and that was cool. Even people from Europe who I recognized because we hosted a European edition at one of the Gallant Melee Opens. And so I got to meet Kingu and Max, and yeah, just a great time. Shoutouts to GOML, shoutouts to Joe, shoutouts to all the homies I was with there, Catherine, Arnaud, Jared, and and everybody else. Yeah.
It was really cool to look at all the attendees that were going to go into the event, looking in as we were getting up to Gommel, where I was going. There's so many people who are traveling from internationally, especially a lot of UK players coming out to play at this tournament, which I thought was really cool because it is obviously great to see players travel to play in events in the US, but I loved how a lot of players coming around from around the world to play in an event in Canada really makes North America feel like the full North American continent experience, I guess. And it's cool that with the fact that this venue that I think was the first time Gommel had used this venue, having the hotel connected to the venue. That's what I was hearing from Twitter, how you just wake up, you're around Smashers, you go downstairs, you're around Smashers. It's just like, you know, paradise for someone who's really into Smash, whether it's Melee, Ultimate, or both. And then all the other stuff that they have going on. There was a boat after party I saw. You get to go on a friggin' boat, dude. That's cool.
Oh my God, that boat was insane. It was like 400 Smashers on a boat, but it was like a lot of people, I guess, when they picture a Smasher party or a gamer party, they probably have some like negative, like, oh my God, it's probably like kind of gross and lame. But that was honestly one of the best parties I've literally ever been to. Like everybody was so hype, having such a good time, and everybody was just there. And yeah, we were on a boat. I really was sad when it was ending, when we were pulling back into that dock. There's 3 floors to the boat. The first floor was like a karaoke floor and a bit more of a chill floor, which was really fun. The second floor was like ravey kind of vibes, and there was a bar there. The bar lineup was like consistently like 45 minutes an hour, which wasn't the most fun. And then the top deck was like the full party floor. People were just dancing and going crazy the entire night. And yeah, Gommel was a dream. And yeah, you mentioned the hotel venue. That venue is amazing. It's right in the center of downtown, like 123 Queen Street, like dead center, and 24-hour tournament venue. So after we went out on Friday, after we went out on Saturday, like both nights, we came back to the venue at like 3, 4 a.m. and just played some more games. And there were always people there. On Saturday at like 4 a.m., I played the craziest friendly session with Daladex, the Fox player who posts the crazy Twitter clips of his tech skill and makes those like really cool skins. And I was just like, wow, I can't believe this is real life right now. It's 4 a.m. and I'm just getting shined on consistent, like quadruple shined, quintuple shined on.
Yeah, and you're not a slouch. You're not a slouch either. You got a nice puff going on over there, dear.
Hey, thanks so much. I didn't have the best bracket performance of this tournament. My puff is a little less out in shape than I want it to be, but I can't really blame myself. Rather, I can't be too hard on myself given I haven't had the chance to put time into competing the last couple months. But yeah, I don't know if everybody knows this, but I love playing Melee even more than I love organizing or doing anything else for Melee. I can sit down and play Melee for hours on end. Time just disappears when I'm playing Melee. And yeah, I'm a box Jigglypuff player, so on a rectangle, and that's a fun challenge. My hands kind of suck, and so a couple of years ago I actually took a break from Melee, went to Ultimate full on, and then when I got my box I went back straight into Melee and relearned the game and am able to play again.
Oh, that's so cool that you have this new way of experiencing Melee that's a little bit easier on your hands. I've been practicing the box a little bit. Shout outs to PK Smokey for helping me get my box controller, rectangle controller, helped pay for that. So super shout outs. Check out this project that I will remember the name of. But the point is that I'm practicing box for the past month-ish, a little bit here, a little bit there, and I am going, why is the up button on the right side of my hand? I don't understand it. And I'm starting to realize you can actually get sore hands if you're not careful on the box as well. The assumption it can't be that you're just good to go automatically. The nerves where you start to tense up and your fingers start to hurt, it's because it's the same thing. You need to be aware of what your hands are doing, even if they're in a slightly better neutral position.
Actually, yeah, that was huge. When I first started playing on the box, that first month, I was really scared. I actually messaged Hacks and I was like, dude, my hands still really hurt when I'm playing on the box because it is still, you have to be very conscious. It's still like my posture check is huge on the box. I'm consistently posture checking, making sure my shoulders are squared, I'm not slouched, and my wrists are not like resting on it. You always have to keep your wrists floating. It's really important to keep good posture when you're playing Melee at any time. I agree.
Speaking of posture, you got to see in person, like I saw you in the crowd a couple of times for top 8 Melee. You got to see some legendary posturing by Jmook and those reverse 3-0s.
Yeah.
I mean, we could hear the room and we could hear the players on stream, which was so cool, but obviously nothing like it was in person. I mean, could you even describe it?
No, but I think
Yeah.
I'm just so impressed because Battle of BC and Gommel both, the Canadian crowd brings huge energy. I love
Yeah.
the Canadian crowd. They're respectful, they're fun, they're exciting, and everybody's just cheering their hearts out. So yeah, it was great. And both Battle of BC and Battle of BC as well as Gommel did Melee first
Yes.
on the top 8s, and I think that's a great decision.
Super great decision.
What that does is all of the ultimate players they stick around and they spectate and they're hyped to spectate Melee top 8 as well because they like watching Melee at the top level. There's so many Hungrybox fans in the room, you know. So yeah, the room was just insanely full and the energy in the crowd was infectious, and I can only imagine how players managed to play through that because I sure couldn't.
So what I really liked was, of course, there was a little bit of a WWE moment with the IBDW reverse pop off, but there's all these cutouts in the crowd and flags, and I love just seeing like little extra stuff like that. I don't know how feasible it is to do that all the time, to have all the extra audio, the cameras set up, everybody ready to instantly like we got a lot of great shots from that reverse pop off and the other moments that happened. I mean, seeing the Jmook pop off, that sort of like lawnmower start motion or punching down on something, I don't know, but it's so much extra production, but it ends up being a really, really great product, and it was so well executed, even despite and the other meme moment of the first match of top 8 of Melee crashing a little bit there, and everybody going, "What?"
Yeah. It's really funny hearing crowd reactions to things that sometimes I would just like shut up and just try and listen because people sound like the Melee crowd sometimes. Like people audibly gasp. You can hear everybody gasp when something crazy happens. It's actually awesome to see because everybody's having the exact same reactions. Everybody's so invested in the game that's going on in front of them. On the note of the production being beautiful, I really, really want to shout out and give some recognition to Waveform. I don't think people actually really understand how broadcast production necessarily works for majors, but behind the scenes of both Gommel and Battle BC and many other really, really big events that you know and love, CEO they did the production for as well. Waveform is the actual group that runs the broadcast for those. Waveform Productions, they're based out of Ontario. Gommel was kind of one of the tournaments that they originated from, and they've come so far from their first Gommel. And now seeing the level of production that they brought to both Battle BC and Gommel, like they blew it out of the park. Ayub was one of the main camera guys on stage who captured all of those crazy moments, and everybody on the Waveform team is a blessing to work with and is so freaking talented at what they do. So huge shout outs to them. Waveform also, if you're not familiar, recently partnered with Melee Everyday. So the Melee Everyday crew is actually a part of Waveform as well. So Juna, Flashburn, and co.
Oh, that's really cool to hear. And Waveform, hey, if you continue to do stuff like that, we're going to have beautiful, so viewable, like, and all these amazing moments captured very, very well on future top 8 events. And I'm thinking about the audio, especially. We're hearing IBDW say, if you just want to do this all day, well, then good shit. Like, I loved hearing that so much.
So much salt, man. I love hearing those clip-its too. And it was really funny because they couldn't actually, so I watch F1, and that's one of my favorite parts about watching F1 is like hearing all the like after the race. I love hearing all of those listen-ins and stuff like that. Back when I watched League of Legends, they did that kind of stuff as well. So shout outs to HyperX for making that possible with the HyperX listen-ins that they had sponsored with their quadcast mic. So yeah, they also helped out Battle VC. So shout outs to any organization that's supporting helping us bring better Melee content and entertainment to the world.
Yeah, I think that the production for Gommel, it's so unfair to go to the next tournament, whatever. Well, I guess it's going to be doubled down. And I will say they had somebody who was walking around at Pound doing the exact same thing that they were doing for Gommel, having a camera person on the stage. So I'm not saying it's going to be immediately disappointing. I just know that there'll be a part of me that's going to miss having audio, which may or may not be there on the same stage as the players and everything like that. So I'm curious for Battle of BC4, this was an event that you had not been planning intensely the entire way through the pandemic, because Gallant Melee had I keep wanting to say Gallant Melee Open, but that's what I'm referring to. All the Gallant Melee Open events where you were very ambitious with how you wanted to present those on stream, make the online event feel a little bit more unique compared to the other online events that were going on throughout 2021, the end of 2020. So you're thinking to yourself, though, eventually this will get to a point where we can have in-person events again. Eventually I'm going to be able to have Battle of BC4. For you, when did it start becoming more of a reality of you saying, I can book this venue now? Like, was this a year plus ago?
Yeah, I want to say it was a little under a year. I want to say that I got the venue booking process started maybe August of last year. So August 2021 is when we started figuring out that, hey, like it's looking like we can put this down. And we are really cautious at the start. We were like, I mean, we'll put it down, might have to get moved. We're okay if the pandemic continues badly, we'll push it out or whatever. But we might be able to do something in June of next year. And I'm so blessed that we were able to. The main bulk of the planning, there's a lot of phases when you're hosting a major, right? But the real pedal to the metal, I guess, came in March. In March, the 90 days leading up to the event was kind of the real, like, every single day of my life, I wake up and I think about Battle of BC, and I sleep and I think about Battle of BC. And it went because 90 days out from the event is when we did our big social push to start like Reg and all that kind of stuff. Everything getting out there. Once Reg opens up, like, yeah, really the floodgates are open, because everything needs to, you have a timeline, and every day you're just getting closer to that deadline of the actual event. But there's so many things that have deadlines that need to be, oh, this needs to happen at least a month before the event, a month and a half before the event, 2 months. And a lot of these things, the sooner you figure them out, the better you can execute on them. I think with Battle of BC, it was it was fun to do it, to put all my effort into an in-person major, and it reminded me of just how much freaking work there is with an in-person major. My God! So I ran 5 Gallant Melee Opens and Pound Online, so those are like 6 basically majors, online majors, if you will, since January 2021. So 6 online majors, and like the work differential is insane, because when you're running an in-person event, there's a couple there's just so many more logistics to coordinate
For
with
sure.
something in person. And another big thing that I always remember, or like realize again when I'm in person, is just I'm only one person. I need a strong team of people who are really, really freaking good at what they do. And you saw it in the end product with Battle of BC. That product is not the work of just my efforts. It's the effort of a significant number of people. So I just want to take one quick sec to shout out the directors of the event. There's like a directors chat and a couple of people who are MVPs. Everybody on the event was an MVP, but Jared and Arnaud are my 2 kind of right hand men when I do the TOing and the event organizing side of the event. Jared bike posts and aimed Arnaud triple threat. I've been with them. I've known them for a very, very, very long time at this point. Back when they were in first year of UBC is when I met them, and they were execs on my team when I was a part of the UBC Esports Association, and that's where they got their into the scene. And now, years later, we're hosting such a sick event together. And then always an MVP on anything I do is Primal. Like, the event looked friggin' fantastic, and Primal is the creative head of everything we do for Gallant Gaming. Battle of BC, from the broadcast to the social aesthetic to the Start GG, like, that's Primal's beautiful work. tons of other people to shout out here, but I'm already starting to have that blanking happen, so I'm just going to leave the list there. But my family, of course, and
Oh, of course, of course.
BC.
You
My
know who
family
you
pulled
are.
in huge. My family pulled, yeah, everybody who had a big part, everybody who contributed and supported Battle of BC in literally any way. Thanks so much. And they know who they are for
Mm.
sure. But my family actually pulled up huge. I'm actually so grateful to have a family that supports what I'm doing. My mom ran the merch booth all weekend long. She was kind of the head honcho of the merch booth.
That's
My
awesome.
dad, yeah, my dad, for years at this point, my dad has been helping me with my CRT collection. He'll never say no to helping me take a load of CRTs across the city to some random event. And even my brother and his girlfriend came by and helped out and supported. My cousins came and volunteered. So yeah, it takes a village to host the major.
So I'm thinking about how a lot of people just came out of the woodworks as this event is happening, and they're tweeting, they're saying, I'm I'm not missing this again. I'm gonna be here every time. This is awesome. And then people tweeting, I can't. I'm not there, but I have to be there next year. That kind of stuff.
Mhm.
For you, I'm sure there's a lot of validation when it comes to that. But could you have? Were you hoping for that? Were you hoping for that in the sense that you want to shoot for the stars, but you always have to be realistic about how things turn out. There's so many different things that could go wrong in terms of hosting an event, like you said, because there's so many moving pieces. But everything seemed to go really, really well, as far as I could tell from the outsider's perspective. And you could disagree if you want to. You're more than welcome to. But I'm trying to say that, as far as I could tell, everybody's saying, "Yeah, I'm here, and I'm never missing this again." Or to those who weren't there, going, "Why am I not there? I feel so bad about it." Like, that's your event that people are saying that about.
Yeah, it's humbling the right word? It's a humbling feeling when people are just what yeah, everybody who came to the event said they're either like frame one they're guaranteeing pretty much they'll never miss a battle of BC. And that's just heartwarming. It's just feeling the recognition and the respect and that, hey, Battle of BC, because this isn't the first Battle of BC, right? We've done
Right.
four, right? This is the fourth. Battle of BC 3 was big too. Battle of BC 2 was big, and Battle of BC 1, they were all sizable and significant events. And I'd always said, yeah, we're running a major and all that stuff. And it did have qualities of what makes a major. But with Battle of BC 4, like from the get go, from the jump, people were giving it the respect and like the scale and admiration that I'd always dreamt and like spoke of Battle of BC as. And now everybody just agreed, like Battle of BC, sick as fuck. I'm literally never missing that tournament again. Yeah, it's a fantastic feeling. And from the inside as well, like I'll echo that. No, I think because of the amount and the significant amount of planning and hard work we put in leading into the event, combined with just the amount of experienced people I have on my team, like from me down, like we have so many people on my core team, like of those, like the 7 directors I was benching, right? Like every one of those guys, if I asked them to do something, or if there was, I would trust them to do pretty much literally. I do trust them to do anything, right? So I know we're in such good hands. Anytime shit hits the fan, it'll always be handled. But guess what? Just didn't have time to hit the fan because we had it
Ooh.
already handled. So yeah, I couldn't be more proud of how the event actually turned out there. Like from the we did a significant amount of feedback forms on all the attendees, on the staff, on the commentators after the event, and like all of the things that my team has recognized we did on that we could do better are just opportunities, right?
Mhm.
Because as I said, like this is the first in-person major we've hosted since Battle BC3, which was 3 years ago, 2019 March, and we were different people then, right? I was a university student in my 4th year, still young, still like, a baby basically. And 3 years later, a lot has changed, right? I've started working full time. I'm a software engineer by day. Like I became, I guess, a professional and learned how a big company works and stuff like that.
Mhm.
And then in the Smash scene, I've grown significantly as well in terms of my experience since launching Gallant and getting to meet people all over the world and work with some of the best, not just locally but globally. I feel like, yeah, as well as my team as well. Like Jared and Arnaud, they were babies back then, but now they're both full-time esports professionals as well. So, uh, yeah, that's a lot of the things that made Battle of BC so successful are right there. And I just had another train of thought that I blanked on.
A little small story in all of this that I think about is I want to give Gallant Melee Open online events credit for putting together Walton Radar commentary and giving them top eights for Gallant Melee Open. I think that's the bigger thing. I think Walton Radar would do stuff like TMT or they would do other online events, but I think Gallant Melee Open was probably the first time I remember saying, oh, Walton Radar doing commentary, not just in terms of, an online stream for an event, which is great, but actually doing top eight, commentating grand finals, that sort of thing. And then Battle BC4, they had the first half of top eight. And I love that little, there's that little growth pattern thing there. I mean,
Yeah.
you since you're a head TO, maybe you didn't have your hands directly in this, but just talk to me about seeing little things like that, even if you don't want to necessarily talk about
No, I
Walton
did.
Radar and inflate Walt's already massive ego.
No, I did have a significant role in that. I put together commentary schedules for both games. I This is a problem actually. I wear more hats than I should be still, even though I'm like working really hard on delegating things. There's just so many things that I want to have the fun of putting together. Commentary scheduling is literally a puzzle solving game. But yeah, Walt and Radar are awesome. I've known Radar and Walt for a hot minute now. Radar actually, yeah, he's from my scene. He's here in Vancouver. He moved here a couple of years ago. He used to he's come to a number of Dhir tournaments. He used to come to a tournament I hosted. My first time meeting him in person, actually, I used to host a tournament series called Dhir's Den, and it was in my parents' garage, and it was a summer weekly series. Yeah, it was like a 20 to 30 person weekly in my garage, and that was always really fun. And that's where I met Radar. My first interaction with Radar, I actually didn't really like him all that much because I had met him online and we played a set and he was a talker. He talked to me during the set and he beat me and he started explaining stuff to me. He's matured and grown a lot since then, and I think he recognizes he shouldn't do that now. But yeah, that was my first interaction, and I love him. I just thought that was really funny because now I think about our relationship we have now, where he's just like one of my, like, such a big homie and just like a brother as I see. Yeah, him and Walt, I always knew they had. I think I first saw them as a duo doing their podcast, right? The Mix Up, when they first saw that. And then I started putting them on blocks at GMO. At the Gommel boat party, Walt came up to me and actually he thanked me for this. And it was something that I'm just like, I think you guys are just really, really good at what you do. And I personally love hearing your guys' commentary together. So it was a no-brainer for me. So I'm always happy to give them the opportunities to grow and grow because, yeah, I'm a big fan of what they do. I think my approach when I'm hosting or organizing any event is I think about what would I like as a player, as a viewer, or as an attendee, and I just try and make that happen. I kind of just use my own biases there, and I go with my guts there. But what I think would be fun, because as I was saying earlier, before being a tournament organizer, I am a Melee fan and fanatic and player. I live and eat and breathe in Melee at this point. All these Melee discs behind me and stuff. Yeah.
You carry TVs.
Hugely proud of them. I carry hella TVs. Shout outs to Nat for making this amazing shirt. I even have a TV right behind me. Yeah. Also, this hat behind me has a lot of lore. Do you want to hear the lore of this hat?
Yes, please.
Oh my god. So this is a rare limited edition, one of 3, I want to say, maybe 5.
Ooh.
Gallant black printed hat. So this is a misprinted hat from one of the Gallant Melee Open events. And it's not even my hat. It's Dobie's hat. So Dobie, the Gallant Gamer, is one of the players that Gallant sponsors. He's a really good friend of mine from Alberta. And he was wearing this hat at Battle of BC, and he was sitting in the front row. And the lights on the stage can be a little bit blinding at times for players, because we need them to look all pretty on camera. And so Hungrybox is playing, and before his next set, he gets off the stage and he goes up to Dobie, who's sitting in the front row, and he says, "Can I borrow your hat, like to block it out, right?" And so Hungrybox wore a Gallant hat the rest of the top 8 at Battle of BC, but he after top 8 ended, he kind of immediately he left, right? He went back because he was going to be commentating the ultimate top 8 second half. So he wanted to go, take a break, shower, chill, do whatever. He didn't return the hat before going back to his hotel room. And so this hat we never got the hat back from Hungry Bucks.
Oh,
Hungry
no.
Bucks stole Dobie's hat.
Oh
And
no.
Dobie has a whole Twitter thread of the Hat Chronicles. But Hungry Bucks said he would bring it to Gommel, and I managed to retrieve the hat. So I traded Hungry Bucks for a brand new, fresh purple Gallant hat for this Dobie's rare Gallant black hat. So yeah, that's the lore of the hat.
I am actually a little bit surprised that the hat did get back to you in a relatively fast fashion. That sounds like one of those things where it would, like, a year or two would go by and you would go, I don't even want to DM Hungry Bucks anymore about this. I already DM him too much about doing other stuff anyway. This sucks. And then you'll just randomly see it at the next Florida event that you go to. You'll look over and you'll be like, Dobie's hat, and you'll run up to the person and you'll go, where'd you get that hat from? Oh, I was just at Hungry Boxes and he gave it to me. I want it. It's my hat.
Yeah, I'm glad we successfully retrieved the hat for Dobie. And yeah, Hungry Bucks rocked a Gallant hat at the after party. Then I traded him out for a new one, and it's kind of again, this is another thing that's humbling for me and like helps rather. I'm trying to figure out the wording of this. Yeah, humbling. When I see people wearing Gallant merch in public, and that's something going to an IRL major kind of gives me the opportunity to really see, because that's one of the places people love wearing their Melee merch is at majors. And seeing so many people rocking Battle of BC merch and Gallant Melee Open merch and whatnot, even just Gallant logoed hats and shirts and stuff, it always is like, wow, we built that, we did that, and people love Gallant so much that they're willing to and want to rock it proudly on their chest or on their hat or stickers. You know, I got a Gallant sticker on pretty much everything I got at this point, but there's other people who do too, and they're not the people who created this. They're not the people who are like so invested in it. They're people who just love it and are fans of it. And yeah, I'm so appreciative of all the people who are Gallant fans at this point. And whenever I go to an in-person event, I get reminded of that. If that people are grateful for the work Gallant's been doing and are excited to continue supporting Gallant to do bigger and better things. So yeah.
So I'm interested in hearing about the Gallant Gaming work that happens other than when Battle BC is being run. And you're talking about running locals. I see you tweet about it every now and again saying, yep, we're doing the local thing here, come and check it out, that kind of stuff. And I'm just curious about how much involved Gallant Gaming is in that kind of sense, or if that's just you specifically saying, I can run this stream, I can run this event, because we're going to get all the homies together and we're going to play Ultimate / Melee / whatever.
Yeah, so right now, like what I'm recognizing and feeling these days is just my bandwidth is difficult to manage, right? There's so many,
Yeah.
so many projects I want to do, and I would love to be all in just doing, right? If you gave me a challenge like, oh, run the best work local in the world, like I'd love to take that on, right? But I have to figure out what to invest myself in at this point, because otherwise I'm burning myself out and I'm spreading myself too thin. Even right now, I have like 4 projects right now, literally
Oops.
actively ongoing, on top of still wrapping up some Battle of BC stuff. So locals are in the pipes. I really, after Battle of BC, like there's not too many strong locals going on regularly right now in the BC region, rather specifically in Vancouver. There's a couple outside the lower mainland. And I really want to pop off running Vancouver locals again, but I personally can no longer, I'm not in a position where I can commit and guarantee that I'll have 6 to 8 hours every week to spend an entire evening running a local. So now I'm at the point with Gallant, because of the scale we're getting at, where hey, I could just hire some of my team members to be the ones to do this, and I have people I trust enough and who are more than capable of
Yes.
running this sick local for me as a part of Gallant. So yeah, I really want to continue supporting and being involved and growing and carrying on our local scene. And Battle of BC was really cool for me because so many of the Melee heads showed up. So BC has had a very, very long, rich history of our Melee scene. The BC Melee scene's dope. but we do have quite a few old heads who are in that 25 to 35-year-old range now. Old heads relative to the scene,
Of course,
um,
yes.
who don't necessarily go to locals, who sit at home and play Slippy just because it's difficult for them to make that happen, right? But with Battle of BC, it was so cool to see all the people come out. We had 300 entrants nearly for Melee, and 75% of the so I did a lot of graphing and stats about Battle of BC afterwards. 75% of the entrants roughly were from BC. So like that is quite a few Melee players and enthusiasts here in BC. Um, and another big demographic in BC is the casuals and the spectators and the entry level players right now. And I think having strong locals is what it takes to get those people more invested in the scene and more regularly attending these things. I'm not sure if you saw, but yeah, we did hit our cap on Battle of BC. We hit our hard cap of 1024 attendees, which was awesome because we hit that on the Friday. Like we sold out of spectator passes and everything. So literally, like we were supposed to have spectator passes available at the door on Saturday, but because and as well as Friday, but because we had hit our cap on the Friday, like we were we were like, no, we can. And we had so many people begging us, hey, I'm in
Ah,
town. I really want to come to Ballad BC. So on Sunday morning, sorry, on Saturday evening, I put out a tweet saying we'll sell 50 spectator passes last minute, 1 day spectator passes, $30 a pop, and they'll go on sale on Sunday morning at 8 a.m. 50 passes. They sold out in 3 minutes at 8 a.m. That means 50 people woke up at 8 a.m. on a Sunday
on a Sunday.
because they really wanted to come to Battle of BC. Can you imagine? I can't get 50 people to come to a local just like that, So it was so cool to see the natural and organic marketing of the event that comes by all the people attending the event, loving the city, having a great time. I'm a huge Vancouver fan. Like I'm a Vancouver ride or die. I'm the Vancouver plug. I tell people about how sick the city is, and for all of these people from around the world to be in Vancouver and enjoying Vancouver the way I see Vancouver, it was awesome. And they were sharing that love on Twitter. I mean, Leffen literally said, best city in North America, right? Amza's moving here because he attended Ballad BC too. So, like, yeah. Yeah, shout out to Vancouver.
Who was the highest performing BC player? Do you know offhand?
Elliot. Elliot came 13th. He beat Null in an upset, and he actually gave Leffen a pretty tough time. He took a game off Leffen, and he could have taken two if he didn't throw the other one. But he made Leffen sweat a little bit. He took a game off Moki as well. He had a good set. So shoutouts to Elliot, also known as The Weapon, if people don't know who I'm talking about with Elliot, because The Weapon is his new tag as well. But he goes back and forth at this point. But yeah, Elliot came to one of my first ever tournaments, like in like 2014 it was, UBC Cup, and he was like 10 years old. He literally came with his mom. He showed up to the event before I showed up to the event, and I was running the event, and he was waiting outside the venue with his mom kind of thing. And we have some iconic photos from the event with him and Silent Wolf playing friendlies, and he's just such a baby. And to see that kid now, he just graduated high school. He literally just finished high school, and he's placing 13th at our biggest ever tournament we've had, beating pros from around the world. Was also just another crazy story. There needs to be a PG Stats video on Elliot.
Yes, and that's one of the tough things. This is also another hat that you ultimately wear is Dhir the author, Dhir the content creator. And we'll talk about the author stuff first. You've written so many things about different experiences that you've had. One of the things that immediately intrigued me about you when I first researched you to bring you on for the first interview that we did a year plus ago was how many things you had written in the past just to say, this is my time spent here. This is what I did. This is how I felt about it, which is great because I don't do that. I guess I podcast about my feelings, but you write a lot of this stuff out. Have you gotten the chance to write about Battle of BC4?
Actually, I recently had immediately after Ballad BC, I actually really wanted to, but then I was so burnt out. I kind of just slept for like a week after the event. I had
Yes,
the
of course.
chance to finally pen down a lot of my thoughts during the flight home from Gommel the other night. So I really want to put out my thoughts and summation of, honestly, whenever I sit down and start doing that stuff these days, I just start feeling like, holy shit, so much is going on. I have
Yes.
so much I want to talk about. and sometimes I get tired and I'm just like writing it. I'm just like, oh my god, and then I'll take a break. So I do have a couple like half-written notes. You'll notice that yeah, I haven't put out one of these in the past little while, but every couple months I will try and write one of these down. So I do on my phone now just have a bunch of notepads with half-written stories about things and whatnot. But I do need to and really want to get one down about my time at Battle of BC4. But yeah, it just doesn't stop, man. Like even after Battle BC4 ended, like I still have some work to do, right? I mean, payouts is actually such a headache. I'm still working on finalizing some payouts. I gave myself a month deadline, July 11th, to finish all the payouts. I have like 70, 80 people to pay, right? That's a lot of work to coordinate. And I don't have an accountant. I don't have a finance guy. I'm the one on PayPal sending these things out, right? I'm currently locked out of my PayPal, so PayPal. I hate PayPal so much with burning passion. Like that is one of the use cases of crypto that I think is actually really, really good. Is just being able to send people money instantly without fees and stuff. Like so, if everybody just started using Nano or something like that, it would genuinely be much, much better than PayPal because PayPal sucks. Hate you, PayPal. Just every TO knows how much PayPal sucks. Other stuff, yeah, just recap. We've been making a deck for partners. We had a lot of partners on Battle BC, less than I'd like for future Battle BC. I'm hoping to have a lot more partners, but Surfshark helped us out a ton, which was awesome because Surfshark doesn't really do too much in the Smash space, and I think this was their first time sponsoring a major Smash event, so they helped us out a ton. Red Bull, the gaming stadium, Jacqueline, HyperX. So I need to make a deck for them. That's additional follow-up work. But you know the craziest part? I'm already working on Battle BC5.
Oh,
it's
of
over.
course.
Yeah, like immediately after, we're like, all right, when's Battle BC5? Because now everybody's coming to Battle BC5.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody's coming to Battle BC5. Now it's just on us to just together the best event. It's really cool because now we don't have to worry on that big problem of how do we get all the players to come to the event. They're going to come to the event. Now we can really invest all our time and effort into how do we make this event even more freaking awesome, right? As well as save the costs associated with having to house and support flights on people, because you'd be surprised, a lot of people, even with sponsors, even with teams, they do need help coming up to the event. So, you know, that big chunk of money that we spent on housing all these folks and paying for parts of their flights will now be spent towards investing in making the event even bigger and better, which I'm really excited to take on.
And I'm curious about, so something that I've always enjoyed, and I don't hold you to not holding your feet to the fire here about Good Morning Melee, but that it was something that I enjoyed quite a bit during during the times that you would record and do that. And your Brandon interview, aka the Waffle 77, is the Twitch stream. Young Waffles.
Young Waff.
Mm-hmm. And then Aiden Calvin, which I think is still my favorite interview that you did specifically. Not to say that any of the other interviews that you did were worse by comparison. I'm just saying I think that was a great way for Aiden to be able to sort of like just say this was my time in the Melee community as a TO on his way out, which was a really fun perspective to just like steep in while you went back and forth about his time in the scene coming up and then starting to be less involved in. So nowadays I don't see as much Good Morning Melee, which is perfectly fine. It's not like you're trying to both finish up Battle BC4 and start working on things for Battle BC5 and have a full-time job and just, you know, want to maybe fucking chill for once, that kind of thing. So just talk to me about what maybe perhaps a favorite memory of yours associated with just like pulling Good Morning Melee out of the air and going, oh yeah, I got a good brand. I got good stuff going on.
Oh man, I love Good Morning Melee. Those are one of my favorite things when I get the chance to put my time into making them. I usually kind of just one-shot them. Like the editing I do myself, and I'll just usually record it all. I script it out. You can't really tell, but I'm usually reading from a screen. I have a screen reader thing. It's just on my phone that's reading the Good Morning Melee script, and it's usually just a one take, like 3-4 minutes of me just trying to read all of this as naturally and charismatically as I can. I really wanted to do a Good Morning Melee for Battle of BC, man. Like I really tried on it. Like it was on my list of things to do in the last week before it. But as you can imagine, a billion other things came up in the last
Oh, of
week to
course.
do, and a billion other things that had higher precedence. I'm glad I did manage to get that tweet out. I'm not sure if you saw, but on the first morning of Battle BC, I threw out a tweet where I did open with "Good morning,
I
Melee,"
did
and
see that.
I did talk about the event a little bit. But yeah, trust me, at the next Gallant Melee Open, I'll give you a really proper Good Morning Melee episode, including an interview that I'll do for sure. And I'm not sure with who yet, but I love Good Morning Melee, and that was Good Morning Melee is a big. It holds a really big place in my heart. It was kind of how I feel like I got more involved with the global Melee scene, because Good Morning Melee originated from the 5 days of Melee,
Yes.
which, God, it was like December 2020, which is a while ago now. But in December 2020, when we were doing the 5 days of Melee, that's kind of how I got involved with that project. Is, hey, I decided to create and invent this morning show. Shoutouts to Kump for helping out with the branding of that.
Hmm.
Kump, another one of those legends behind the scenes. He also made the Battle BC trophies. So if you enjoyed those trophies, that's also Kump's work. He
Let's
also
go,
made all the
Comp.
Gallant. He also made the Gallant Melee Open trophies. You know, the Hungry Box one of like the glowing puff and stuff. But anyways, Good Morning Melee is super fun. I really enjoy doing that. I really enjoy making content. Like, you've also probably seen at summits when I attend, I try and do some video interview content, summit on the spot kind of thing. I did some good ones with Amza back in the day at Summit 12 and Summit 13. I managed to still get 3 in before we had to close down things.
Right.
I got an interview with Spark in there. I got an interview with Squid. Love Good Morning Melee, and I think more fun content like that is stuff I'm really excited for people to be bringing to events. I think um, I see the event broadcast experience, I think, slightly differently than some other TOs do, and I see a really unique opportunity there. Gallant Melee Open is where I have had the chance to be most hands-on with experimenting with this kind of stuff and trying things out, where we'll integrate content into the broadcast, and we'll make the broadcast not just, hey, you watch a match and you take a break for a while you wait for the next match to pull up, but it's a whole on experience. You're viewing this as entertainment, right? So every time we have a break screen, we'd throw up like minute Melee tutorials and other people's content and stuff like that, and creating new content for it. We do a Friday content day. Like, I want to make viewing a Melee tournament an entire experience. And I think with Battle of BC4, you know, that was our first time scaling things up. And we again learned some lessons and stuff. There was dead time on the stream. There were opportunities where I wish we had some sick content to just throw in there. And so that's something I'm definitely going to continue playing around and trying out with, is figuring out how we can do that kind of stuff and make the stream even cooler. And that's kind of how Good Morning Mail even came to be. So, yeah.
It's just one of the many awesome things that came out of 5 days of Melee, which it's going to be an event that I remember for the rest of my life. But I think something that I think is like almost one of the more important things that came out of it, aside from all the funds that were raised, was how I think that was definitely a big part of how you decided. I like the idea of content being around tournament brackets, and all the Gallant Melee Opens that had content Fridays or tried to do stuff just aside from here's the stream and here's the Melee, go enjoy the Melee. It led to you ultimately having Radar host the Who Wants to Be a Millionaire, right? Or was it Melee Jeopardy?
Yeah. No, we did Who Wants to Be a Millionaire?
Who Wants to Be a Millionaire?
Historical event, and I think that's something I don't think about either enough. Like at Battle BC, like we had a couple historical things happen at Battle BC that I think kind of almost fly under the radar, no pun intended, because of all of the other crazy shit that went down at that tournament. Friday we had a basketball side event. I don't know if you saw that, but we had a 70-person basketball tournament on Friday, like a proper 3-on-3 tournament with substitutes and everything. And that was super well received. And I don't know, like, I know side events like that have been toyed around with and stuff, but people were seriously playing basketball, and that was so fun to see. I was screaming out there. And then on the Saturday, yeah, we had Millionaire, which is the first time we've had an IRL content thing like that done at a major. It was on the big stage. There was a crowd full of people. Production was incredible. Shoutouts to Flashburn. Flashburn worked really, really hard to create that experience. It's not easy. You know, you'd think like that kind of stuff looks easy when you're watching it. Like, oh yeah, the button, it just changes color, blah, blah, blah. but like what goes on behind the screens is more like yeah.
Yeah.
Edwin Budding and Radar did an amazing job writing all those questions, play testing them out. Toph blew it away, right? He killed it on the hosting. It was really entertaining, and both Moki and Hungrybox were incredible guests to have on and amazing contestants. They both made far runs and were very entertaining. So I really love that. I didn't get to watch it in full on the night of because I was running around, but I got to watch that back. That was one of my most fun parts about Battle BC is that week after I literally was just watching Battle BC VODs like every day. Yeah, I was like, oh, I haven't watched this set. Let me watch that. Yeah.
And so the tournament is going to ultimately fade away into more of a further away memory because Battle BC5 will come around, and then we'll be talking about that, and we'll say, oh, what a great follow-up event to Battle BC4. Now Battle BC5 is sort of like going to lead into Battle BC6 and so on. But getting too far ahead is crazy. Where you feel like you are now with Melee is being a super fan. It comes across so clearly in everything that you do, Dhir. I wonder about the timeline of all of this. Of course, you could say you're in your prime, however you want to describe it. But I think about when the time of life moves on to other things or other interests. I'm not trying to push you out, Dhir. I'm not trying to do that. Let me be clear. But I am curious about what you think your long-term plan is for Melee, because it's not because I'm thinking about dropping off or anything. If somebody asked me this question, I would describe it as, I want to do this as long as I can because I'm passionate about it right now. I'm passionate about it. I'm going to want to do stuff around it. So here I am doing the podcast stuff. And there's not really like a closing date. I'll just keep doing it as long as it's fun and I'm really, really into it. That's how I would describe it. I'm curious about your perspective.
Yeah, so I've been in the Melee scene very seriously for maybe 7, 8 years now, I want to say. Like the 10th, 11th grade was kind of my origin, and I really have grown up in this scene, right? Going from being 16, 15 to being 24. It's my birthday in a couple hours, 25. Like
what?
I've been,
what?
yeah,
Okay.
7-7, yeah.
Should
So
have
it's
led
coming
with
up on my
that.
birthday.
Happy
I've actually been,
birthday.
hey,
Let's
thank
go.
you so much. Thank you so much. I've been in my thoughts really the past couple of days thinking about this birthday coming up because yeah, 25. I'm no longer that young, right? Like it doesn't round back. And I know 25 is still very young in the grand scheme of things,
But you said 25 to 35 earlier, so
yeah. Anyways, I am feeling older now, right? And I am thinking about what's up with my life, where I'm at in life, all these exciting things going on. I'll say for certain right now, like the people and the relationships like created with people in the Melee scene, they're not based around Melee, right? Like if Melee disappeared tomorrow, like Joe, Arno, Jared, you, like all these folks are still hopefully going to stay in my life. Like I want to hang out and see these people. These are my best friends, right? Like these are my bros at this point. I don't have any plans to stop with Melee. I actually am fully going the other way right now, where tentatively, hopefully, all according to plan, next March, I'll be going full time into Gallant Gaming. Right now, I do have a day job, as you said, but right now, and I'm really hoping nobody at Microsoft sees this. So let's just, but yeah, I just really feel right now everything that I'm doing with Smash, it's so exciting, and everything I'm doing with esports is so exciting, and you know, I want to put myself fully into this, right? And so I'm excited to take that on and hopefully make that a viable thing that I can do next year. Next March is kind of when I've got that soft date set in my head. And I want to see how far I can go with esports stuff. And it's not just like Melee is always going to be my lifeblood, and I want to run the sickest possible Melee events in the world. Like that's my goal, right? I want to just run the sickest possible Melee experiences. I want to create the sickest possible Melee experiences because I realize what we do is much more than just creating an event. We're giving people these crazy experiences. Somebody at Battle of BC at the party on the Saturday, came up to me and was like, this literally feels like Coachella if it was for Melee. And I'm like, wow.
That's awesome.
You're right. Like we're all staying in the dorms across the street from the venue. We're all here at 2 a.m. partying and chilling with just smashers, right? Like this is more than just, and we weren't playing, so it's much more than just based around the game. Yeah, I want to see just how crazy far I can take this, and I think it would be a shame for me to not put my all into it when I know what my all is capable of. And yeah, right now, like, it is still a split of my passions. But I think about, what if I really could wake up every morning and just put my entire efforts and bandwidth into creating experiences and focusing on Gallant gaming instead of having to do this and Gallant gaming. Because there are all these opportunities on the tables for Gallant. Content is a wing. Technology is a wing. You know, I am an engineer, and we do have technology plans. You see the shit Primal is doing all the time. Like, that's a part of the technology side of what we do, right?
That's awesome.
Yeah, working for other people. There's all these event opportunities coming at me too now, right? Gallant. The way I describe Gallant to people is, yeah, there's three wings, right? You're going to get the whole business talk right here, right now. But we host our own events. So that's like Battle of BC, the GMO series, all the local events and whatnot. We offer event production services, right? So you can hire Gallant to host your events. I hosted Pound last year online, so Pound 2021 online edition. I have some other upcoming opportunities to host events within 4Gimmer. I'm hosting Uprising in Korea. That's crazy. In September, I'm literally going to Korea to host a Melee tournament. Who the frick would have thought I'm going to go to
this, dude? That's so cool.
Yeah, I'm hosting Uprising. Like, who would have thought that
Let's go.
I would? Yeah, so I'm Melee worldwide, man. I'm literally going to Korea to run a Melee tournament. Who would have thought? All these opportunities, I want to just grab them, right? I just want to do it. I just want to run these things. I just want to get the chance to. But I can't right now. So I'm excited to be able to do that in full. I also want to try and expand outside of just Smash, but for me, I don't want to be doing anything that I'm not super invested and passionate about. And I know not everything is going to be, oh my god, I love this, I want to do this, but
payouts.
No, there's so many things I don't love and want to do. Big game I have on my radar for Gallant to start doing exciting stuff for is Project L. So that's a League of Legends based fighting game coming out from Riot. We don't know when it's coming out. Maybe late this year is my dream, but realistically it's probably sometime next year. But what I want to do and what I plan to do and what I'm really excited to do is, I love the Gallant Melee Open model that we've created, right? There are some of the sickest online events. They're so comprehensive. We have a ladder. Like, we always have thousands of sets played on the ladder. Like, we run great tournaments. I want to take that model and apply it to Project Plus. Like, that game is optimized for online play, right? The rollback netcode from the get-go is going to be insane, and it's also going to be a brand new game. So stuff like content around the game and lessons on the game and information about the game, like tutorials, is going to be so welcomed in the scene. So creating a Gallant Project Plus open kind of event series would be really, really fun, I think, of a challenge to take on.
Yes, and because there's going to be people who want to get on that right away, but since Project Plus, shout outs to the Project Plus community, I mean, disrespect when I say this, but it's on the smaller side, and it has to be very grassroots and underground because of just we all know why. I won't be super specific, you don't have to hear it, but that means that there's going to be people like Saber who are always doing stuff like making sure that the God of the Mod series on Mango's Twitch channel happens and that people can see Project Plus. But the more opportunities there are like that, the better. And so rollback for Project Plus would be absolutely awesome. That's why they're
slight confusion there. Definitely a confusing thing. Project L is not anything to do with Project Plus, even though it's so confusing that the name is that. Project L is the League of Legends fighting game that's going to be coming.
Did you say Project Plus somewhere in there in my
I must have. I must have. Yeah.
Because I was following along with League of Legends, and then I heard you say Project Plus, and I went, wait a minute.
Project L. That's the working title. It's a pretty shitty title. I'm curious what they're gonna actually name the game. But yeah, Project L is the fighting game being created by the Cannon brothers in association with Riot Games. Yeah.
Might be.
No, but shout out to Project Plus. I actually have plans to start hosting Project Plus stuff as well at the Gallant Smash Locals. My goal right now is at the Gallant Smash Locals for Ultimate that we're going to be hosting. I want to add Project Plus as a side event to those and have it be with auto L canceling on as kind of a gateway drug for people from the Ultimate scene to start experiencing the hype of Project Plus,
Mm-hmm.
and then maybe some of those will also want to experience the hype of Melee, but also just to have it growing and support the Project Plus scene and help create it, because I know there's some really good Project Plus players in our region, but they don't have a scene, so.
Oh, okay. So Project L needs to definitely be a different title. Let's go fighting games though. And if Riot's making one, it'll probably be successful on some kind of level, because Riot Games does put a lot into the esports side of what they do.
They make good games. They make pretty good games from that. Well, League is kind of a dumpster fire right now, but they do good stuff in esports. Yep.
So other than hot takes, what else can we get from you? What other thoughts do you have before we get you out of here? Because we could talk for a really long time, but I want to be respectful of your time, because maybe you could do something else tonight other than spend an extra hour going at this, which of course, Dhir, I appreciate your time. Thank you so much. What other closing thoughts would you like to add before we get going here?
There's so many things. Yeah, locals. I'm really excited to host locals again sometime soon. I'm excited to be traveling for events.
South Korea, Seoul.
Korea is gonna, yeah, and a bunch of people have already told me they're coming to that. Cody's coming to that. Leffen's planning to come to that. Hungrybox is planning to come to that. And it's like, damn. Uprising is going to be a really interesting challenge for me in Seoul, because I'm planning to be running that event on monitors. I've run a couple events on monitors, like local events, but they're not always the most well received, even though I'm doing everything right per se. Like I have the proper adapter, I have all the codes, I have really good consistent TV, but still people give me a hard time. So I'm fingers crossed that, like, with this event we do get it right and people do just like, yep, that's great, that was really fine, because that's kind of the only worry I have about that. I'm flying out 24 of my Wiis to Korea, which is gonna be fun. Yeah, I don't know if you know this, but I have a Wii setup vault, so I have about 50 to 60 Wii setups, and so I actually provided setups to Gommel. I actually shipped out all my Wiis to Gommel. They're still on their way back right now from Toronto, so I provided the setups there, and I actually recorded. This is something that I feel like I wish more events are doing, but Battle of BC and Gommel, I did this, and whenever I go to Summit, I do this as well, is I record all of the Slippy files on every console there.
Yes.
And so from Battle of BC, I have 9,600 files that are
Yes.
uploaded and sorted right now. I just need to make a Twitter post saying they're available. And I have plans to run those through Project Clippy and make like a crazy combo video thing. From Summit 12, I made like a 10 to 15 minute combo video of every 10 plus hit combo. And that was really well received. And it was also just so fun to watch. So I'm excited to see what that looks like from Battle of BC as well as from Gommel. Hot takes and whatnot.
I mean, so crucial to do the Slippy file setup.
Here they are, the 40 USBs right here that I take around the country with me. Yeah, shoutouts to Slippy, man. Shoutouts to all the team that has made this kind of stuff possible. Like, what we're doing on this 20-plus-year-old game just blows my mind. Blows my mind.
Will we get to see Dhir at the launch of Ranked whenever it comes out for Slippy Online? Will we get to see Dhir go up the ranks?
I hope so. I know how challenging it is for them to be creating Ranked. Like when I start to think about the potential challenges, I'm just like, shit, like no of course it's taking this long. Like even just like the black Pandora's box of cheating.
Yes.
Cheating is a real thing in Melee right now online. There are actively people. I got lag switched on today, I'm pretty sure it felt like. Like, I had the game-winning edge guard on this guy, and all of a sudden the game goes to 600 ping, and I can't even control my character, and then he just gets back on stage and up smashes me, because that's how it goes in the Fox Puff matchup. But yeah, like, how are they going to be able to create an anti-cheat system? Well, they really can't unless they figure out some way to detect it on the Slippy level, which I'm sure is something that they're working on, right? But yeah, there's so much that goes into creating Ranked. But I'm really excited for Ranked to come out. Unranked is sometimes not the most fun experience these days, especially when you're playing Jigglypuff. I can only imagine the kind of gameplay I'm gonna have to deal with in actual Ranked, but I hope I get good enough to do pretty well in Ranked. Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's the same thing with unranked, because that was the Pandora's box as well. All of a sudden, Fizzy went from theoreticals of I could do this amount of work and maintain all of the stuff that goes into making unranked possible. But as soon as it goes live, it's supposed to stay live forever, I guess, theoretically. And so I'm sure a lot of time that Fizzy has to spend and the rest of the team has to spend is just making sure that Unranked continues to be functional, continues to be the product that it is as it stands right now. And I can't imagine. So big shout outs to Fizzy and the whole Slippy team, volunteers, the coders, all the primers, all the things. Words that I don't know because I'm not an engineer. So other than that, Dhir, let's make sure that we give shout outs to what you got going on, to make sure that they know exactly where to go for maybe twitch.tv/Gallant Gaming, those kind of important things. Whatever you have on your mind to shill for, please shill away.
Yeah, for sure. I'll do a couple of shows. One of the big shows I'll do is YouTube, the YouTube channel for Gallant Gaming. We posted all the VODs from there on. So I made a decision to take our VODs from the event instead of give them to like BTS or give them to VG Bootcamp, because I really want to grow the Gallant Gaming channel itself. And I was really, really proud of the reception that we had on the VODs on our own YouTube channel. It was good gameplay. So if you haven't already, go subscribe to the Gallant Gaming YouTube channel to keep up with the VODs from all of our events. If you got any Twitch Primes laying around that you haven't already, rather, give your Twitch Prime to Cypher, to Jesse. But if you do want to still support Gallant Gaming, twitch.tv/Gallant Gaming. You can also get some cool emotes if you subscribe to us.
We're not monetized on my channel, so go to Gallant Gaming and get your emotes.
Go to Gallant Gaming.
Yes, that's exactly right.
Yeah, any Gallant Pogs in chat. And keep up with me on my Twitter. I'm at Reindeer, the Gallant Gaming Twitter as well, as where if you're ever looking for what events I'm hosting, the Gallant Gaming Twitter. I will give a spoiler in advance announcement. Nobody else outside has heard this, but I'll be doing another Gallant Melee Open this summer. Gallant Melee Open Summer Edition last year was my favorite Gallant Melee Open that we've done.
Those stages are so cool. They were
Everything
so
about
real.
Gallant Melee Open Summer. That was the one I think we had the most, like, after having, so yeah, we've done like 5 of them, right? Gallant Melee Open Summer is the one I feel like we had the most resources and time invested into, and like it shows in how sick that event was.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so Gallant Melee Open Summer will return this summer. Tentative date, am I confident enough? Tentative date right now is the weekend of August 19 to 21st. So I think it's right between Shine and some other. Yeah, I'm blanking on it right now, but it's an open weekend right now. So I'm hoping we can, like, online is in an interesting spot, right? There's a lot every day. There's a tournament, and every day there's people playing in online tournaments. But right now there isn't really anything filling that online major role at all, right? Like there's no Ludwig tournament, there's no Gallant Melee Open or anything like that. Like, but I think online majors present such a unique opportunity, right? They're accessible to everyone, and yeah, they're accessible is a big thing for me, right? Anybody can play without having to get their flight, their housing, and all that stuff sorted out, and be a part of this thing that's bigger, which is always really cool. Yeah.
So, and one thing that I think is really cool and that I think is a little bit underrepresented right now is something that I do. I just became a TO a couple weeks ago, Dhir. I host my local, online local, if you will, with somebody who's the head TO. So I'm helping out with stuff, and I'm helping out with commentary on stream and stuff. So nothing super duper. I am nowhere near you, Dhir. I'm not trying to upstage you, but I'm beginning my TO journey a little bit here. And one of the things that we do, or the main thing that we focus on in terms of why enter our event, we will give you gas money and pay for your venue and entry fee to an IRL event. So you win our tournament, you get to go to a local event in your area, because we're not specifically region locking to Pennsylvania, the state that I live in. It's sort of like a tri-state kind of ish map. So if you normally go to the nightclub or you haven't been there in a while, well, now you can go because you won the tournament. So we're going to pay for your venue entry fee and we'll give you gas money to get to nightclub or whatever the IRL local that you're closest to happens to be. And I love the idea of maybe online events. It doesn't have to be Gallant Gaming Open. Sorry, Gallant Melee Open Summer Edition, tentatively in August. It doesn't have to be that where it goes. The winner gets to go to a big major or whatever. But
we did that. We did that with Gallant Melee Open Spring. So Gallant Melee Open Spring, the winners for Gallant Melee Open Spring got flights and registration for Battle BC. So Sunsei won the West Coast and Swift won the East Coast, and they actually both. Yeah, I flew them out and brought them out. And
I totally forgot that you did that. You're right.
We did a true grand finals actually. So because we didn't have any cross. So most Gallant Melee Opens that pass at the end will cross the coasts where it'll be a top 8 that's combined or top 32 that's combined. But with this Gallant Melee Open Spring, we did 2 fully separate brackets and never merged them, and instead said we'll settle it offline. So we did a 1st to 5 exhibition set between Sunsei and Swift. That's criminally underrated of a set because it's on our side stream, and I'll find you the link to watch it yourself afterwards. But they ran a 1st to 5. I think it went to game 8 or something like that. That was really fun. I really love the idea of mixing in-person and online. I had a lot of crazy ideas over this past year when I was thinking about the last Gallant Melee Open in, when was it? Spring 2022. That's what I just talked about how we can integrate in-person and online and create these hybrid things. I have ideas like, what if we had a local, and at the local there was a ladder that you could play on at home or in person, and you could play with people in this ladder queue by just going to one of the setups on a PC in the venue instead of playing with someone offline, and just finding ways that we can take advantage of this insane technology that we have.
So it's just rabbit trails. We're still lost in the sauce. Okay.
Yep, we're so in the sauce. It's all good.
Dhir, thank you so much for joining me. Let's go ahead and get the outro queued up. But in the meantime, thank you for joining me. Thank you for taking the time to, talking about it is not as great as and long lasting as writing, but looking forward to seeing whatever you end up writing about Battle BC4 and all the stuff that you're doing this summer, this fall, this winter, next year. And, I just want to go to Battle BC5 so bad. Maybe I'll do what Enwood does, where he said, I'll just go and I'll just figure it out later.
You watched that Melee Stats. Yeah, that Melee Stats video was so great. Oh, man. Yeah. Please come. I would love to have you out there, and I'd love to see maybe IRL version of Bottom of the Smash Mountain.
I get excited about when somebody says that to me, but to anybody else who's watching this video, the one thing that I will say before we get going is that starting the time that this gets released is going to be the middle of next week. So we're recording live on Twitch right now. That's cool. And Dhir, thank you for sticking around for this thing. But who wants a free fob controller? The new wave where you have POD that never actually occurs because it's magnetic inputs and blah, 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 blah. You've all seen fob controllers. You've seen the discourse. You go, I want one of those. You find out that they're still expensive because it's somebody taking a controller and doing stuff to it. They're not $50 or whatever. If you want a free fob controller, I am doing a fob controller giveaway with BSM Pod, Bottom of the Smash Mountain. So follow me at BSM Pod. Sorry, I guess that's my podcast Twitter. That's not me personally, at Cypher003. You can follow me there too if you want, but you should be keeping an eye out for a tweet that will go live where all you have to do is follow, retweet, that kind of stuff. I'm collaborating with Borg Technology. Hoborg is a New Jersey player. Shout outs to Hoborg, who's also making fob controllers and rectangle style controllers as well. So it's super cool to do a collab like this. So shout outs to Hoborg, shout outs to Borg Technology. But you will be seeing that in the semi-near future. So if you follow at BSM Pod now, then you're all set to go. And you'll get to be able to partake in that and potentially win. And I looked up international shipping today. It's not as bad as I thought. So it doesn't matter if you're in Canada. It doesn't matter if you're in Germany. Enter this giveaway and maybe you'll get a free fob.
Let's go. I love the fob. Shout out to the fob. You know Phobos is from Vancouver, the person who invented the fob?
What the heck? I talked to Frost, one of the firmware developers, and he said nothing about Phobos being from Vancouver, and I feel like that's an important detail.
Yeah, Phobos. I know we were just wrapping up, but Phobos like randomly months ago posted in the BC Smash Facebook group being like, "Hey, yeah, I like came up with this idea for a new motherboard for controllers. This is it. Check it out. Does anyone on the scene want to like test it? Because I suck at Melee, so I can't actually tell people if it's good." So then a couple of BC players like Unruly and stuff started testing the fob before the fob was really the fob, and now fob is everywhere. Yeah, Phobos has come to all my local events in the past year, and he's just a normal guy, an no tour, but a really nice guy.
Big shout outs. That's awesome. That's really cool. Yeah. So support your local scene, and you will get people like Phobos coming up with the next great things for Melee, the game that we all love. Okay, let's go ahead and play the outro, and Dhir, stick around for the thumbnail thing. We'll be right back, but also enjoy your day.